Turbo and 2K show.
What is up, everybody? What is up? Yes, it is that time of the week again, folks. It is podcast time. It is the show time. And like the title says, that we're going to be talking about the chaos in the MLB postseason 2Ks. Are you fucking ready for this, brother?
I am ready.
Yes. And everyone, I know we are balls deep in I mean, we're right smack dab in the middle of not only college football, but NFL football, but this is the postseason. You and I are both avid baseball fans. So why not just take a little bit of time here. The whole show will be baseball, mostly. We're going to recap our fantasy league and kind of see where everything takes us, 2Ks. But first, I haven't really talked to you since last Sunday. You were boots on the ground for Miggy's last game ever.
Yeah, it was.
Tell us about that.
Well, you bring it up, and it's like the hair on the back of my neck just stands straight up. Like, it was just it was such a cool experience, and for me, you know, I mean, I've been a Tigers fan my whole life, and majority of that time, Miguel Cabrera has been in a Tigers uniform. So. And I mean, when it all started, the Tigers were awful when I was young, and then kind of going into my middle school.
The old Bobby Higginson Tigers.
Yeah, and then going into like my middle school years and into my early high school years, you know, the Tigers started to turn it around. It was 2006 season, so I would have been in 8th grade was when they made the playoffs. That's before Miggy came to town. But then after that, you know, they make the World Series run that year in 2006, and then I think it was 2008 or 2009 was when Miggy came into Detroit, and from that point on, it was like just an incredible player. Not only an incredible baseball player, but just an incredible human being. Like just how he interacted with fans and how he interacted with his teammates, and not only just his teammates, but also his peers. I mean, the people that he was playing against. I think you're very, very hard pressed to find a Major League Baseball player that doesn't just not only respect the hell out of him, but that doesn't love him. I mean, he's chumming it up with people all the time, and just my all-time favorite to watch. So, but you know, last Sunday being there for that, you know, it was just I thought Detroit did a awesome job. I mean, getting his family involved on Saturday, his parents threw out the first pitch of the game. That
was super cool.
Sunday, while we were there, he had his kids threw out the first pitch. He's got 3 kids, all 3 of them threw out, you know, and they all threw them to him. And
didn't they do some announcing and stuff too, or was that?
So it was and then when Miggy went up for his first at bat, his son, you know, called him in to the plate for it. Unfortunately, you know, his at bats were not great in the game, but you could just tell he was pressing big time, trying to make something happen. And Giolito pitching for Cleveland, he knew that, and he was throwing a lot of off speed, making him reach for everything, and struck out in his first 2 at bats. Third at bat hit kind of just a little blooper to the shortstop. And then in his 4th at bat, which turned out to be his last at bat of the game, 4-pitch walk. Didn't even get a pitch to hit. So he got on base, and then you didn't really know because at that time Tigers were ahead, and they're going into top of the 8, and you didn't really know if he was going to get another chance because they were going to have to bat around, you know, because I think he was like due up 7 or 8, and they ended up pulling. I kind of thought, well, who knows what's going to happen. Next thing you know, the inning ends, and they go out for the 8th inning to take the field for defense, and everybody's on the front step, and Miggy's on the front step with the first baseman glove, and he takes off thinking that all of his teammates are coming behind him, and they didn't. They left him out there by himself, and he took the field and went to first base and turned around only to find out that he was the only one on the field, and everybody else was just at the dugout clapping for him. And you know, I think it was probably like 3 or 4 minutes in between innings there. They played some different songs. They played the Green Day
Time of Your Life.
Yeah, Time of Your Life song, and it was like, hey, you look around, and Comerica Park was sold out. I mean, they were packed. And I was like wiping the tears from my face, and I turning and looking around, like making sure that nobody can see that I've got tears running down my face, and everybody else in the whole stadium does.
I'm sure.
And then just kind of like the baseball gods, the first at bat of the inning, Stephen Kwan hits a ground ball right to him at first base. He fields it up, makes the play, and then AJ Hinch come right out of the dugout as soon as that with his 3 kids right there with him, and his kids all took him out of the game, and that was it. And it was just it was an awesome experience, that's for sure. It was my wife and I, and a few of our other friends, we came up with this idea. Shit, back in June, July, and we bought the tickets then, so we got them for pretty cheap then. And at the time, we were like, wow, Mickey hasn't really been healthy for a whole season, so we're taking a chance. Hopefully he makes it, and everything. It was like it was just played off a script. Like everything just went perfect. So yeah, I mean, Miggy, I know you're listening. Congratulations, and on a Hall of Fame season. I mean, there's no question there. Could have walked away from the game 7-8 years ago and would have been a Hall of Famer. And
100%.
all this stuff he's done here in recent years, as far as going over 3,000 and over 500 home runs, that's safe to say he's definitely in the top 2 or 3 of right-handed hitters I've ever watched in my life.
Hands down. Well, good, man. I was happy that we did have someone there, representing the Turbo and 2K show. But B82 on YouTube said that, which I'm assuming is your brother, he came to Detroit in 2008.
Yeah,
Miggy. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the clarification.
For Dontrell Willis and Miggy come to Detroit, and Andrew Miller and Cameron Maben.
Yeah. And at the time, there were a lot of folks that were pissed that they sent Maben out of town.
I mean, it was the Tigers' 2 top prospects that they gave up in that trade. But Cameron Maben came back to Detroit and played majority of his time there. Andrew Miller was a starting pitcher at the time, but he ended up being a reliever, a great reliever, one of the best relievers in baseball there for a short period of time. But I would give up a relief pitcher and a platoon outfielder any day for a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's looking back at it, that's probably one of the most successful trades that any Tigers GM has ever made. Mm-hmm. And then kind of fast forward that into the big contract. Mm-hmm. Everyone was so pissed that, no one's worth that amount of money. No one. Well, I mean, yes, the goal is to win a World Series, yes. But if you look at how many fans Miguel Cabrera put in the stands,
absolutely.
More than paid for that contract.
And you look, I mean, obviously Sunday, the game we're at, there's Miguel Cabrera jerseys everywhere. But if you went to a Tigers game anytime, it's all Miguel Cabrera jerseys all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And it's so much more to me what Miguel did, and why I will always argue that he deserved all of that money and then some. Is he did everything for that organization. Like when they wanted to chase ring and try to win one for Illich there before he was going to be done. Their idea was they needed to bring Prince Fielder in. Well, they already had Victor Martinez to take that DH spot, and Prince Fielder wasn't going to play anywhere else, so he had to play first base. Miguel Cabrera was coming off a Gold Glove caliber season out at first base. I mean, he was a phenomenal first baseman in his prime, and he went and did what not very many people in his shoes would have been willing to do. Go back to a position where they failed at. I mean, they were not. He was not good defensively at third base, and he went and did it because it was the best thing for the team. It was what he needed to do that for the Tigers to make a run at a World Series in order to bring Prince Fielder into town, and he did it. And it was just. And when he was in his prime before the injuries, I mean, he was playing all 162 games of the season. I mean, you couldn't get him off the field, and it's just so many things that if you look around to a lot of the players that are playing today, I would be hard pressed that a lot of them would want to make that move out of their comfort zone when they're the best hitter in the game and arguably the best player in the game, and they've won multiple MVPs, and he's willing to go back to a position that he isn't really comfortable at and not very good at, and he did it for the best of the team. So when he's coming off of all those seasons, the MVP season, the Triple Crown, which who knows? There's a good chance we won't see another Triple Crown in our lifetime.
No.
Who knows? But he comes off of that, and I mean, if they wouldn't have signed that contract and made that deal, Tigers fans would have been done. I mean,
Oh yeah.
would have been done. And when that contract was signed and everything was set in stone, he was one of the best players in the game, and nobody knew that all these injuries were going to follow.
No.
His body just broke down on him, and that's the most unfortunate part with his entire career.
And honestly, he probably should have taken the groundwork that Albert Pujols laid the year before. he should have hit in the home run derby, which would have ignited his second half, and then go on to be just a world beater, walk out the door, see you later, Detroit. This is what I'm obviously kidding.
Yeah.
Obviously
No,
kidding.
yeah. And it's just, but it's just like, for him, I mean, with everything that had happened, with all the injuries, and obviously this last 5-6 years have been rough for him, and but for him to have a pretty decent year this year, I know it wasn't great. I know the power numbers weren't there, but he was able to, and AJ Hinch handled it perfectly. I mean, you can't, as far as managing that team and not trying to force anything out of him. And they were a better team in majority of their games without him this year, and that's no secret. That's no knock on him.
No.
And Hinch knew that, and that's why for most of the games he didn't play, and so I think Hinch did that to a T. But at the same time, when I look at it now with Miggy, he was able to walk out on his own terms.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he finished out his contract. He did what Detroit asked of him when he signed that contract, was to finish that out, and he did it. And for that, I think he's the greatest Tiger of all time. I know a lot of those old hats are going to argue K-line with me, and that's absolutely fine. But I think Miguel Cabrera is the best of all time and to ever wear the D.
And by old hats, he means Denny Small, possibly your dad, Papa 2Ks. So but there's not a single thing I can argue with or even hint at being inaccurate. So. Brandon also is saying that, where is that? We'll be ready for my special guest appearance next week. You got it, brother. Come on, get a hold of your brother. Let's do this. Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
It's too bad you're not here tonight to talk about Notre Dame.
I have a feeling this building would implode if that was the case.
With my laughter.
Yeah. Well, 2Ks, since I wanted to start the show off with that to kind of let everyone know that wasn't there, kind of the vibe, kind of what was going on there at the stadium, and to let folks know where you were, because I was actually a little bit under the weather Sunday, so we did not have a show last week, so we are back again, and did not get the introduction out of the way, but for those of you, the handful that are watching live, if you're over on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified every time we go live. If you're on Facebook, give us a like too. I mean, obviously we stream this to the Turbo and 2Ks group, so to help us out there, get guys and gals, let's all invite 3 people. We're over that 500 mark. Let's see if we can hit the 1,000 mark by the end of the year. I know it's kind of a lofty goal, but what the hell? Why not? But if you are looking for the most awesome experience, YouTube is your best bet. But don't want to discredit the folks over at on the podcast side, because 2Ks, it's aside from this last episode, where I think we duped a lot of people to come in and watch because of the mention of one Taylor Swift, which she's not here tonight, by the way. She's not here tonight. I know it's kind of everyone has to say that now. Everyone has to say that. Yeah. She is not here tonight. And before we jump into the baseball talk 2Ks, I did not post the parlay, so let's go over that real quick, and I can't get into my phone.
What, we need our parlay for the night?
Yeah, I got it. We each took 2 legs on the Niners Cowboys game. I took McCaffrey over 32.5 yards, Kittle over 3.5 receptions. You took Ayuk anytime touchdown, and Dak over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So kind of, I know it's still not too late to ride with us if you guys watching that do want to hop on that. And I don't know about you 2Ks, but it seems like every bet that I post on DraftKings, there's a profit boost somewhere. Mm-hmm. Or thank goodness, because I've been rolling so cold.
Oh my God, cold. Dude, I'm ice cold.
The risk-free bets have come in handy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a three-legger that would have hit if Isaiah Pacheco would have got 2 more yards rushing. I had him 56 and a half, and he got 55.
Yeah, I thought we had the one Thursday night, and
I did too.
Terry McLaurin. I don't know. They just forgot they had Terry out there.
Yeah, well, it's bad juju. He's an Ohio State guy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
That's on us.
Yeah,
That's on us. And actually, it was on me because it was one of my picks. So, but yeah, 2Ks. Let's jump into this baseball talk here. I think it goes without saying that I was kind of shocked that the Cubs missed out on the playoffs altogether. I mean, that's one of the more iconic kind of letdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about riding a just slew of emotion. I mean, they kind of stand pat at the trade deadline. They hold on to Bellinger. They hold on to pretty much everyone that they were rumored to be wanting to shop, and they get Stroman back. It's like, all right, this team's ready to go. And if you look at that team top to bottom, they're a solid team. Mm-hmm. And then yet again, playing in a division that's completely underwhelming. And so I was honestly shocked that there was not a Cubs team that made this.
Like they hit their peak too soon.
Yeah.
You know, they were playing really, really good coming out of the All-Star break, and you thought they were just going to kind of take over and, you know, kind of have their way with that division. And that last month of the season, it was just
it's terrible.
Yeah, it was awful.
Between them and my Red Sox, it was really hard to watch the last month of the season. But the wild card round, clean sweep 2Ks. Mm-hmm. Clean sweep. Which I know they talked about on Baseball is Dead, but and this is not anything that's abnormal since they started the 3-game playoff in the wild card round. Very rarely does it go to a third game, and it just seems like having one of the divisional winners play in the wild card round is kind of silly. Mm-hmm. So, in your opinion, should this go back to 1 game? Or do you like the 3 game?
I like the 3 game. I hate the 1 game thing just because baseball is such a, you know, obvious. It's just with baseball, anything can happen, and the best team doesn't always win, and you really can't say that in a lot of situations with other teams. And I mean, you look at it with just what happened last night. When I know we're going to get to that, but what happened last night with the Braves? They haven't been shut out all season long, and they get shut out last night in the first game with the Phillies, and I just don't like the idea of 1 game. You play 162, and then 1 game explains what happens in the postseason. I don't like that idea. I like the 3 game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the possibility of kind of like a rebuttal or run it back, because you're right. The baseball is not like football, even though football, you know, any given Sunday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that too. But when you could have your ace, which we'll get to here in a minute, not even get out of the first round, or the first inning, not the first round. And for kind of your season to kind of hinge on that, yeah, I mean, I get why some people do not like the 3 game, they like the 1 game, because they're trying to kind of replicate what football does.
Well, I think everybody's trying to avoid the NBA.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you have a 2-month postseason.
Yes.
That people just lose interest in it by the time it gets to the end. Or with kind of the other way with me with the NBA is I don't really have any interest until you get to the final 4 teams.
And
then I start getting into it. And if it wasn't for, you know, having some fucking parlay ran out there, I wouldn't watch it at all. But yeah, to me with the baseball, I like the 3 game. It's still quick. You can knock it out in, you know, well, in this case, you knock it out in 2 days.
Yeah.
But you can knock it out quick, and it's not 1 game. When you play 100, the Major League Baseball season is a complete grind. You can't say that about these other sports. It's not a half the year grind where you play 162. You basically play every single night of the week.
Yeah.
And then to get to the postseason and you only get 1 game, to me, I just don't think that's right.
Hi, Brenda. But no, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Now, let's get to Well, let's start at the top left of this graphic I have here, 2Ks. Blue Jays, Twins. This one was kind of a shocker to me. The Twins haven't won a playoff game in like 20-some years. It was like 2002 or some shit. They not only win one, they win a series. And now beating the Blue Jays, now it's like, okay, where do the Blue Jays go from here? I mean, you look at the players they have. I mean, granted, the game one was who the fuck was their starter? Kevin Gausman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been solid all year. He kind of lays an egg. And Vladdy Jr. has kind of been a shell of himself this whole entire year.
Just has a complete blunder in game 2 of that, where that shit just can't happen.
No, and I would. And now, if who's their pitcher that they sent down, and then he pretty much just said, "Fuck you, I'm done playing." I can see his face. He was a
Manoah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if Manoah is healthy and everything's going the way it should, I mean, it's not fair to say one guy can determine your season. Same as, the Mets lose their closer in the World Baseball Classic. That's not an excuse why their team sucked all year. But in a 3-game series, if Manoah is the Manoah of the past, and there were a lot of folks that chose Manoah to win the Cy Young, and obviously went the other way with that. But having that solid one, him and Gausman, a 1-2 punch.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I have a feeling if Manoah was healthy, they wouldn't be the number 6 seed in this whole equation.
No.
But yeah, kudos to the Twins.
Yeah.
Royce Lewis stepped up huge.
The only thing with that, ended up the 6th seed is that's such a gauntlet of a division.
Yeah.
That all you do is you beat up on each other.
Yeah.
And to me, it very easily could have went a lot of different ways in that division. It just ended up being, one team gets really, really hot. One team started the season unbelievably hot, and how it all turned out kind of crazy. But Tampa Bay was not good if it wasn't for the unbelievable start. First month and a half of the season, they might not arguably not even been a playoff team.
No, and then let's slide to their game or their series.
That franchise is such just a complete mockery. I mean, I understand that they put a team in the playoffs every single year, but for them to be in a playoff game and not have anybody show up to that stadium for a wild card game is just fucking beyond me. Like, move that team out of that city, please.
No,
they have no business having an MLB baseball team out of fucking Tampa Bay. No business anymore. And
there are plans for a new stadium in the same fucking city.
Yeah, that's wrong. Get it out of the fucking city.
Yeah, but Glass now steps on his dick game 1. But kudos to the Rangers. I mean, again, you look at another team that could have had the same kind of collapse that the Cubs did, given their pitching injuries. Scherzer, I mean, that was their big acquisition, where their biggest acquisition ended up being Montgomery, hands down. And that was kind of their thing. It's like, all right, yes, the Rangers have plenty of offense. Their starting pitching is, and then their bullpen is like, whoa, this is bad. And they go down to Tampa and sweep. Go down to Tampa and sweep. And I think Tampa only scored one run, right?
Kudos to Texas for being active at the deadline. I mean, doing what you needed. I mean, because if they don't do it, they're probably not playing right now.
No.
And now they're looking, fast forwarding past where we're talking about now. Now you see they're up 2-0 on Baltimore.
Yeah.
In that series. So kudos to them for that. Because they were arguably the most active team at the deadline. We talked about it after the deadline as we thought they were the team that won the deadline.
Oh, hands down.
So and it's paying off.
And you even factor in, they were kind of one of the first ones to make a move. I'm having a horrible time with names tonight. Chapman. They trade for Chapman, which we're all like, you have a closer. But it just goes to show you how bad this bullpen was, even with him in there. But this team's kind of set up, I think, to hang out and be a perennial playoff team.
Yeah, and we all know it too. And when the postseason baseball gets here, that you don't have a very long leash on that starting pitcher because you can't afford. It's not like a regular season game where you can afford. We'll drop this one and we can still get 2 out of 3 in the series. That's not the outlook in the playoffs. You're trying to win every single game and piece together every single game. And you can never have too many good, solid bullpen arms, especially bullpen arms that have been there before.
Yeah, and then you even look at the starting pitching. You know, they would be very, very advantageous to sign Montgomery, especially considering what he's done in the postseason so far. You've got Max Scherzer under control at least for 1 more year, and then fingers crossed, DeGrom comes back healthy. We could possibly see him after the All-Star break next year, and and then the core of that offense. I mean, they signed Seager to that long, huge deal. Simeon the same way. And then what they have, like the 4th pick in the draft this year or something silly. So this is a team, 2Ks. I have a feeling that the run they're making this year could be replicated, if not better, next year.
Yeah. And speaking of that 4th round pick, I mean, Langford kid from Florida, who arguably had the best season of anybody in college baseball.
Yes.
And has played 3 years at Florida, and it's not going to be long, and he's going to work his way up to the show also. So this is a team that's not going away.
No. And let's flip over to the National League. Kind of a shocker to me. Arizona takes out Milwaukee, and the biggest story here is, Corbin Carroll is becoming a man right in front of our eyes. In case there was any doubt in your mind that he wasn't a good player throughout the whole season.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with him, is he started off so hot.
Oh yeah.
It's like 3 months into the season, and it wasn't talking about him winning the Rookie of the Year. It was him being a possible MVP candidate.
Yeah.
And then just kind of went back to, I'm not going to say he was not playing well for a big stretch of the season, especially like in the second half, but he just went back to normal, playing as a normal rookie and, just not putting up those crazy numbers. Well, playoff baseball, this is what this kid is built for, is playoff baseball.
Yes.
If you want a grinder, go out there and grind for everything, play really good defense. He does everything well. He's a grinder on the bases, one of the most exciting players in the game, and he's going to have his chance at some MVPs as his career goes on.
And one hell of a head of hair.
Oh, he's got some good lettuce.
Get this kid a Head and Shoulders deal stat, because that shit is flowing and awesome. And Diamondbacks 2Ks throughout the whole year were kind of that. They'll get hot for a stretch and then cold for a stretch. Hot for a stretch. So it was really hard to get a pulse of what this team actually was or is. But on the flip side, they're playing the divisional winner from the National League Central, which we kind of hinted on that was terrible. And the thing that kept them in pretty much all games was their starting staff. And I have a very good feeling that after this result, it is time to I have a feeling you're going to see the Brewers be active in the market with a couple of their starters, and because they need bats, 2Ks. This is one of the worst hitting playoff teams I've ever seen. And not just their lack of offense in this series. I'm talking about their lack of offense throughout the entire year. We were looking at a lot of teams needing arms to fill voids to make a playoff push. This team needed bats badly. Their bullpen was good. Their starters were good. That wasn't the case. They weren't in those markets, but they couldn't land a bat. They couldn't, it's kind of a shame, because I do like the Brewers. I like the way they play, but it is trying to watch them for a whole game this year. 2Ks was almost like pulling teeth. It was horrible. And not a big shocker here. Philly takes out Miami.
Philly's a scary, scary, scary team right now.
Yeah, ask the Braves.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, to me, you're talking about National League teams. That's the last team. As far as for the Braves, that's the last team I want to face right now. Give me the Dodgers. I'll take the Dodgers on.
Yeah.
Before I want to take on this Phillies team. They're hot. They have veterans. They have players that have been there. They have players that have hit a lot of home runs in playoff games. They got pitchers that are. Their pitching staff is coming around. I don't want to go into the bank and play. And
playoff Bryce is playoff Bryce. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a tweet the other day that, let me see if I saved it. I don't know if I did. But some of his career accolades already, and there were so many people that were just pissed when he signed. And I never really understood why, because it's Bryce Harper. He's a generational talent. I just really don't get it. But you talk about a guy that is probably underpaid at this point in time. But him and Machado, remember that 2Ks? That whole winter was where's Bryce going to sign? Where's Machado going to sign? And when Machado signed with San Diego, we're like, the fuck? Mm-hmm. This has to be a cash grab. Mm-hmm. But when Bryce went, and even when Bryce went to Philly, the Phillies were terrible. They were absolutely terrible. Can't say that anymore. Can't say that anymore. And he talk about probably the best lettuce in baseball.
Well, for me with him, it's longevity, man. I mean, it's longevity. He's had that lettuce since he's come into the league. You know, he come in as a rookie and he kind of cut it all off and was all clean cut and everything. Well, it didn't take long for him to and now he's been rocking the same look for 7-8 years. So no, it's longevity for me. He's the one that started that look.
Yeah, when it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I did not have any of the tweets. But to kind of get back to the Blue Jays 2Ks, I probably should have looked at this earlier. This is a tweet from Keegan Matheson. In 4 years, the Blue Jays have gone 0-6 in the playoffs and taken one of the best lineups, 2021, and rotations, 2023, in franchise history nowhere. Don't know where he's pulling those from. They pivoted this season and got the same result. Then you look at Ryan Hunter over on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, at Ryan Hunter 91, RIP 2023 Blue Jays. And this kind of is a tweet that's all encompassing into their whole entire season. Inept offense, good pitching, terrible coaching decisions, worst plate discipline in the MLB, unable to come close to hitting elevated fastballs, backed its way into the playoffs, lost a team that doesn't win playoff games, 8 years of mediocre management. It's hard to argue that.
Yeah.
Hard to argue that. Yeah, let's. Whoops, I don't need that. Where do we go? There we go. So let's kind of, since I have a tweet up here about the and 2K crew. I'm sorry I didn't put slides together for this. About the Diamondbacks here. Diamondbacks kicked the shit out of Clayton Kershaw last night. I looked at that and I was like, this can't be right. This can't be right. And then it's like, all right, and the Dodgers will tell you, Clayton getting banged up and then coming back. Maybe this is going to be more longevity going throughout the playoffs. We've kind of seen this kind of in the past, but it was the monkey on his back forever that he could be the best pitcher in the history of the game throughout the regular season. You get to the playoffs and his ERA is like 7. Well, he gave up what? Is it 9 runs in 2/3 of an inning?
It was bad.
I almost wanted to text Kyler and Rich just to see if they're okay. But after Michigan's big win, I figured it'll even out. Yeah. They weren't jumping off the second story quite that much. But this is a tweet from Oddshark at Oddshark. Did you know 2Ks? It doesn't say 2Ks, but the 2023 Diamondbacks and the 2008 Dodgers are the only teams to sweep a playoff series with 84 wins or fewer in 162 MLB regular season. Kind of crazy to think, but then again, it's a 3-game series. It's not a 5-game series. But the way the Diamondbacks were playing against the Brewers, if it was a 5-game series, I think they're still sweeping.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, especially with their showing that they had on Kershaw last night. So
yeah. So let's dive into that one here real quick. That one, like I said, I had to take a double take. Like there's no way this is happening. Where is it? There we go. Diamondbacks went 11-2, by the way. So not only did they completely take the wind out of their sails, I mean they scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. I think at that time it was pretty much just garbage time. Let's see here. Give you the stat line on Mr. Kershaw. Third of an inning, 6 hits, 6 runs, all earned with 1 home run. So only 6 runs. I was being a little.
Yeah. But yeah, same point. I mean,
Yeah.
he just, and Dodgers fans were booing. I mean, it was just not good when you're the face of your franchise for how long now, and you're booing him off the field. And is it? I mean, maybe it is. Who knows? And it was just not a good night in LA last night.
No. And we kind of talked about it. The shocker was Phillies go into Atlanta and not only win but shut out the Braves. They shut out a lineup that, like you said, hadn't been shut out all year. And on top of that, Atlanta tied the season home run record right before the playoffs started.
That Atlanta offense, I mean, it's safe to say that was the best all-around offense I've seen in years, maybe in my lifetime, as far as top to bottom. I mean, they got guys batting 7, 8, 9 that be batting 1, 2, 3 on some teams in Major League Baseball.
Down.
So, I mean, just a unbelievable team, and to get shut out. To me, there's no bigger game in all of baseball than tomorrow night for the Braves. I mean, it's the Braves. They have to win that game tomorrow, and if they don't, and they take that to Philly, being down 0-2, like, it's not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty for them.
Yeah, and
because I mean, even if they win a game, I think it's going to be very hard to go to Philly and take both of those games. So that's one to keep your eyes on, because there's not a tougher place in all of baseball to play than in Philly, and that Philly team is hot right now.
Now, because Strider's start was amazing, and that's kind of been one of the things that, I mean, possible NL Cy Young, possible. I mean, the Cy Young Award winners aren't really like set in stone. I mean, you could say that on the American League side, Garrett Cole has that wrapped up, which is probably true.
Yeah.
But would it shock me if someone else came and backdoored that? No. And does he deserve it? Yes. But these baseball writers, it's like, well, 2K's the Yankees didn't make the postseason, therefore he can't win the Cy Young. Bullshit.
No, I agree. I think that one that's a pretty easy, obvious.
I would think so.
Win for him, but yeah, I mean, we've seen things pan out as far as with this voting and go different directions a lot.
But Strider goes 7 innings, gives up 5 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned, 2 walks, which has kind of been his. He allows a few too many base runners, but still had 8 strikeouts. So the moment was not too big for him. He did his job for sure. Now, I honestly think it was a fluke. And I'm not saying it's a fluke the Phillies won. I'm saying it's a fluke that the Braves got shut
offense
out.
just doesn't show up. Yeah.
And it could be because they were the ones sitting at home, where the Phillies swept. They have a lot of momentum rolling in. And for those of you that say momentum in sports is not real, has never played, I'm sorry. But yeah, and they're playing right now, aren't they? Or is that?
They're tomorrow. Tonight is the
Twins Astros. Yeah. And let's see here. since we already talked about it, Twins Astros. That was a better game than what I thought it would be. Astros win 6-4. I'm looking up the box score to see who. I'm acting like I know who the hell any of these pitchers are for Minnesota. Ober. Never heard of him. But let's see. Lewis went 1 for 5. They have Carlos Correa batting all the way down there. That is crazy. He went 2 for 4.
He's one of those guys, though, like that for these postseason games, that's what the Twins needed. Like, obviously, worst division in baseball. Like, that's if there's a division that you can get out of and get your way into the playoffs, that's the one to do it in. But in order to win these playoff games, you need guys, in my opinion, you need guys that have been there before and know how to do it and know how to rally the troops when things, because baseball is a roller coaster. It's an up and down game. And so to me, having Correa just in your lineup, somebody that has won a World Series, knows how to do it, knows what it takes, and having him, that's what the Twins needed on this team, because they're a bunch of young bats, they're a bunch of young kids that haven't played in this, but they're an exciting team to play. I mean, that Royce Lewis kid, just been arguably one of the hottest players in all of baseball is down the stretch here through the wild card round. Had a big hit last night. But I just think when it comes down to it, this Astros team is just the Twins are overmatched. So this Astros team is really, really good.
JV does what he does. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks.
Yeah, and I mean that's nothing new for Twins. Like JV's dominated the Twins his whole career. So
yes, and he hands the ball off to possibly the strongest, most, just nasty part of this whole team is the bullpen. Is the bullpen. And let's see. The nearest dude gave up the 4 runs. Abreu and Presley. Scott, pretty much.
Yep.
We're good to go. Rangers Orioles, and let's see. They played earlier today. And that's definitely a high score. They won 11-8 today, and they won 3-something. Where's it at? 3-2 yesterday. So there's a lot of folks 2Ks that are like, all right, is this Orioles team a fugazi? What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
They were for most of the year. They were the only team to kind of keep pace with the Rays at the beginning of the season, and that's one of the reasons why they were able to overtake them, is because they didn't fall too far behind after they took off. And to kind of have this slow start out of the gate, I think surprises a lot of us, especially like we talked about with the pitching that Texas has. Yeah. Now they're riding the hot hand, which why not? Why not? But I think did Dane Dunning start game 1? And Henny did.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They pretty much went bullpen for game 1, and today
they just jumped out to such a big lead right off the bat.
They had Montgomery, and Montgomery kind of came back down to earth. He went 4 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs. Only 2 strikeouts, so kind of a pedestrian start. But who started for Baltimore? Grayson Rodriguez, and that was kind of one of the question marks. It's like, all right, this is kind of the bugaboo of this team is the starting pitching.
Yep. That is the whole story with Baltimore, is they're just not there pitching wise to be able to compete with these teams and win in playoffs. And that. They have built this team up from the bottom, and they had, the young talent, especially, hitting talent that they have coming up. And, it's only going to get better next year. But they're going to have to make moves to bolster that rotation. Yes. I think their bullpen is pretty good. Obviously, the injury to, the closer for them. The injury, that injury is huge, and not having him right now. But even before that happened, it was no secret that the starting pitching was bad. And at the deadline, they went and made the move for Flaherty, which obviously is a step in the right direction. But they need more pitching. They got to get better there. And I think it's going to take maybe having to get rid of a couple of these prospects that they have down in order to get them the pitchers that they want. And I think that this is probably going to be an eye-opening experience. I expect Texas to take care of business with them and win this. And I think it's going to be an eye-opener that Baltimore's you can't miss this window with all this young talent, because you're going to be one of the best offenses in baseball for a long time. You can afford to let a couple of these guys go that are going to be blocked out from being able to play. You can only play 9, and after your pitcher, you can only play 8. Yeah. So you're going to have to make some moves, and I think they're smart enough to do it. I mean, but this offense is fucking loaded, and with the addition of Holiday next, I got to believe he's going to be probably a starter next season for them. Yeah. So it's only going to get better. But you're going to have to let some of these other kids, go. I don't think you're going to let guys that are in the lineup now or Holiday go, but they have plenty of others down there. Yeah, they're going to have to let them go to bring some pitching talent in. We haven't even seen Kerstead yet. I mean, you talk about a team that drafts well, and which they should, because they've been terrible for so long. But quick heads up, 2Ks. Brenda says, I think I'm going to root for the Twins, Dana's team. So she's officially off the Tigers. Well, you might only be rooting for the Twins for another night or so, because I don't think that's going to be. I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but that Astros team they are very, very good. Well, let's kind of give our picks here as it stands right now. You're taking Houston over Minnesota. Yeah. How many games? I think Houston sweeps. For some reason, I'm giving the Twins 1. Okay. I'm giving the Twins 1. I didn't think they would win or beat the Blue Jays. Granted, Houston's way better than the Blue Jays, but I think something weird happens, and I don't know. Yeah, just Houston, but Minnesota takes 1. Texas Orioles. Texas is up 2-0. Now, granted, for those that don't know, this is a best of 5 in this round. So we go 3, 5, 7, and then 7. So this is not like the NHL. This is not like the NBA, where it takes for fucking ever. I kind of like this, but yeah, it's the best of 5. So I mean, this series could be over the very next game. I think Baltimore actually ties this back up. And then I think they run out, and Texas ends up winning this series. But I think Baltimore is going to string together 2 in a row. Man, they got to go on the road, and that's the thing. Baltimore has been so good this season at home, and for them to drop the first 2 is huge. But I just think this offense is going to take off, and they're going to get something on them. They have to take at least 1. They have to. Yeah. And if they be a pretty big bummer if they don't at least get 1, because you're hard pressed to find a more exciting team than this Baltimore team. And there's a lot of folks that are saying, maybe this team is ahead of schedule, which could very possibly 100%. Be true. I mean, I'm not saying they're ahead of schedule as far as being a playoff team, but ahead of schedule as far as winning that division, absolutely. Being the number 1 seed in the American League. I would have never said 100 wins preseason that they win 100 games and that they win that division. I never would have said that. I would have said there's a chance that they obviously get in as a wild card. Yeah. But 100 wins is no fluke. You got to be really, really fucking good to do that. So unless you're the Dodgers. Yeah. Speaking of I'm taking Texas. I'm giving. The O's take 1. The O's take 1, but I don't see them digging that much. That they got too far in a hole that I don't think they can get out of. Yeah. All right, Arizona and the Dodgers. Did I say that's the one that's going on right now? Yeah. Okay. Who are you taking in that one, 2Ks? Man, as much as I would love to see the Diamondbacks win this, I gotta go Dodgers here. Just too much experience. Mookie Betts. I mean, Freddie. If it wasn't for Acuna, just having a mind-boggling season as far as with the stolen base numbers, the average, the home runs. Mookie Betts was next in line for that MVP award.
And followed very closely
by Freddie Freeman. Yeah. And and you could say the same thing with the Braves with him, with Acuna and Olsen. Mm-hmm. But I just think the Dodgers are too good. They got too many guys that are proven. I think they get back on top and win this game tonight. And I'll go Dodgers here. But I think the Diamondbacks will win too. I think this goes to a Game 5.
Just a quick update: Twins are up 3-0 on the Stros. 3-0, and the Dodgers play tomorrow. Phillies Braves tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Dodgers. Yeah, that's right.
You know what? I'm doing it. Give me the Snakes.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see them somehow win that back in Arizona, and jump in the pool afterwards.
Could you imagine having that flow that Corbin Carroll has in Arizona?
Yeah.
That's you talk about commitment, dude. You talk about commitment.
Oh, for sure.
All right, and we've got, and in my opinion, 2Ks, this is the one that I want to go. I want it to go 7. Like this is the exception to the rule, because this honestly should be not in this round. The Phillies Braves should not be meeting in this round. It should be the next one, but that's just how the chips fell. Mm-hmm. Just how the chips fell. This one is going 5.
Yeah, I would.
This one's going 5, and give me Atlanta.
Yeah, that game goes back to Atlanta for Game 5. I think I could get on board with that. I'll say, just to be different, I'll say it goes to Atlanta. I think Atlanta wins 3 in a row.
Okay. Yep. So, but we both have the Braves. I just have it going 5, mm-hmm. right? Okay. I like it. But yeah, there's what's kind of left out of here, 2Ks, is kind of some of the perennial people we're used to seeing. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no Yankees. There's no Red Sox. There's no St. Louis. There's a lot of teams that we're used to seeing in there, and it's kind of refreshing, even though a lot of these teams didn't last long. But the Marlins, mm-hmm. That's a good stepping stone going into next year. I mean, granted, Atlanta's still going to be there. Atlanta's still going to be there for like the next decade. So let's just if you're a Braves hater, I'm sorry, you're going to be hearing a lot of this, because that core is young. They are all locked up, and they're not going anywhere.
No.
They're not going to Philly. Same division. Mm-hmm. So if you're Miami, you're like, thank goodness for the extra wild card spots, because before, 3 teams out of 1 division probably isn't getting it done.
Yeah.
But add in there the Diamondbacks. Mm-hmm. I mean, we kind of talked about, with the Orioles, again, this is a team similar to the Braves that I have a feeling we're going to be seeing perennially in here for many years to come. And a team like Houston and a team like the Dodgers that are big spenders, and kind of obviously the Dodgers are the biggest spenders of them all. Mm. Those really aren't the youth movements that we're seeing kind of around these other teams. Mm. So I have a feeling it's, for the teams that didn't make it, like the ones we mentioned, which way are you going to go? Mm-hmm. And I think your farm system is going to be a very big factor on which way you go. Whereas like the Red Sox, farm system's pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. Pretty damn good. The Yankees, mm-hmm. The Cardinals, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen there. That's a big mystery, because they got some pretty big pieces that I have to imagine a lot of teams would be very interested in. And if that's the Cardinals want to go that route and kind of start over, which I think is probably their best move right mm-hmm. now. I mean, they proved that they're not ready to go anywhere. They're not going to go anywhere with what they got right now. So it's probably time to break it down. And unfortunately, you're going to have to watch some of those really good players walk out the door, but that might be their best bet.
Couldn't agree with you more. But yeah, I think we're, regardless of the outcomes, I think we're in for some very good baseball. And I think that I'm excited for it. I really am. What I'm not excited about is I wish they put these games on at night instead of at 3 o'clock in the afternoon so I can actually watch them. But I say that every year. I say that every year. So really not a lot's changed there. Well, 2Ks, it's top 5 time. And I'm not sure why that did that. We're gonna have to do this. All right, our top 5 graphic is out of commission. And I probably should have teased this before, but we're doing top 5 fall activities that does not include football. So we can't go to a football game, we can't watch football. Fall activities that our top 5 fall activities. And I'm kind of curious to see which way you go with this, because I know for a fact you are not a basic white bitch. So if you say apple picking or pumpkin spiced anything comes out of your mouth,
I'm not gonna go. I am gonna probably piss you off then a little bit with this first one I got here.
well, lay it on me. Rip the Band-Aid
It's not
off.
anything pumpkin spice. It's not anything like that. But I do enjoy apple cider. I do enjoy.
Why would I be mad at that?
Drinking apple cider.
Why would I be mad at that?
That's as far as I'm going.
That's as
far
basic
as
as you
yes, like I'm not going. I don't get the pumpkin spice lattes, anything like that. But a nice cup of apple cider. I do. I enjoy that. I do enjoy that.
That
I might drink maybe like a quart of it in a whole fall. You know, it's not something that I want every single day, but every once in a while I do. I look forward to that.
Could you imagine the shits that you would get if you drank it all the time? I mean, that's insane. That's insane. All right, number 4.
Number 4. Number 4, I'm gonna go just kind of my favorite holiday. You know, especially now that I don't. You know, I'm not a kid. I mean, I have kids and I enjoy the whole Christmas thing. But for me personally, I enjoy Thanksgiving. Like getting the whole family together. I love Thanksgiving food, just stuff in your face.
As long as it's hot.
My birthday is also right there at the same time, so it's like November is my birthday month. Thanksgiving all falls in the fall. So I got to put that one at number 4.
I love it. Number 3.
Number 3, another holiday. Holiday that I really didn't, all that much care about as a kid. But now that I have kids of my own, a holiday that I look forward to one of the most is Halloween. Seeing the kids trick or treat, all the costumes, not only with just my kids, but seeing some of the other kids' costumes. That's just one of my favorite days. It seems like here in recent years, it's been shitty weather.
Yes.
You get the rain or fucking sleet or something on Halloween night. But if you just being able to get out there and go, and get a pretty good. I steal a lot of candy too from the benefit of having 3 kids.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's called a dad tax for a reason. It's called a dad tax for a reason. Andrew Stadelmeyer says hot apple cider with a couple shots of whiskey in it.
I can get down with that.
Or you little fireball?
For sure.
A little fireball in there? I can dig it. Number 2.
Number 2 for me, you said we can't have any football involved, but anybody that knows me knows that there's going to be some type of a sport that's involved.
Yes.
Playoff baseball.
Yep.
Playoff baseball. I love watching baseball. Obviously all season long. I would love it more if the Tigers can get into one of these postseasons. I think it's on the horizon. I'm not saying it's coming next year or the year after that, but I think it's good. I think it's getting closer. And man, those times, like what I was talking about earlier, when I was in my high school years, and the Tigers were making playoff runs and making a couple World Series runs. Then I don't know if there's not a championship that I could root for one of my teams to win more than the Tigers to win a World Series. So yeah, I love playoff baseball. Andrew
also said it's great when you have a sore throat.
Yeah.
So when you're yelling at said baseball teams.
Yelling at baseball teams, yelling at the Michigan Wolverines. I do that.
And if you're yelling at Notre Dame, just skip the cider and give me the whiskey straight up. And you're number 1, and I have a feeling I know where you're going with
this.
Number
1's easy for me. I mean, if I was going to pick just pick any hobby for myself, and I would have, even going back to when I was still in school and playing sports and all that, I still would have picked this over all of them. I love to bow hunt. Mm-hmm. I always have had a really, really deep passion for it. I don't get to do it as much anymore because just we're busy. I mean, we've young kids and all that, but the times that I do get out and now getting to take, my son out and kind of do all the things that I did with my dad growing up has just made it even better. And it's an easy one for me. I love everything there is about hunting.
Like I said, I had a feeling I knew where you were going with that, and if you didn't, I was gonna be like, what? I'm telling your wife, dude. Telling your wife. You have this fictitious thing going on that she said that you like it. Nope, not at all. All right, mine is number 5. I'm a weirdo. I like taking care of leaves. I don't like raking them. I love blowing them. Mm-hmm. So, and it's nice. It's more of a kind of a watch. It's one of those things that's very easily rewardable. You know what I mean? It looks so nice and so clean.
I get that, yeah. Like it's a pretty good feeling when like your whole yard is all nothing but like fucking leaves everywhere, and then you like go inside, you drink your cup of apple cider, and you look out the window and it's just fucking green grass. It just looks so clean. I get that. I can respect
it's even
that.
better when your neighbor has done the same, so it just doesn't blow right back in your yard.
Yeah, that's like with our neighbor. Shout out to Karen. Her yard is like top notch all the time.
Yes,
so
it is.
She kind of like she starts doing stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, we better do what we got to do.
better get off my ass here real quick.
But then our neighbors on the other side, they're fucking fips, so they don't take care of shit. So a lot of times when Chell and I are taking care of our leaves, we just blow everything over to their fucking yard because it looks like shit. They're not here in the fall anyways. Fuck, that probably should have been in my top 5 for fall activities. My fucking fip ass neighbors go back to where they belong.
Shit. And my number 4 kind of piggybacks off that. I enjoy cutting wood. And it's easier to cut wood when it's cooler out as opposed to when it's in the summer and it's blazing ass hot. So I do enjoy that. My number 3, I'm trying to see how I want to order these. Say a nice bonfire.
I'm with you on that too. Right. Especially like when you're sitting around a fire and it's cool out instead of sitting around a fire and it's fucking sweating your ass off.
You don't have to worry about mosquitoes.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah, and let's see. My number 2 has got to be Thanksgiving. Again, I'm a chubby kid. The only thing that sucks is being diabetic, and every single holiday, every favorite food is so carb laden that I can only have a little bit of it. But still, a little bit of goodness is better than nothing at all. And my number 1 2Ks is, and again, this is an activity that you can do all year round, but the weather's perfect for it in the fall, and that's smoking meat. Nice pork butt. Haven't tackled a brisket yet, but that's definitely on the list of things to do. And ribs, you name it, because I don't have one of these fancy Traegers where you just set it and forget it. I actually feed the fire, tend it, keep it at the temperature I want instead of turning a dial and just being all lazy about it. But yeah, that to me and what's even better is when you add on to that and watch football while you're doing it is probably the best thing in the world. It's right up there, really close for being tops on Turbo's list. Cause the reason it's number 1 because if you add football to it, it's even better, even better. And then you get to eat it. Yeah. Then you get to eat it.
And then you can say the same thing. I mean, like, see, so how we love sports so much, and especially football, like. We put in Thanksgiving also because we stuff our fucking faces and watch football all day. I mean, that's another reason why I like it so much. Jesus, I guess we should have went with Kittle for touchdowns tonight.
Later, Andrew. He said, "All right, fellas, I'm headed to bed. Have a good one and go blue." And then he gives the hook 'em. I think he's confused. So that was a hell of a game.
I mean, that's just the rock out. Hook 'em is.
There's a lot of this. A lot of this.
Kind of looks like an M too.
Yeah. Either way. Either way.
Go blue. I can get down with it.
Yeah. And what's your guys' top 5? And we actually did get a top 5 list from Mr. Austin Garvelink over on YouTube. He left us his top 5. I can't remember it was tailgate food that we did last week, or the last time that we recorded. But yeah, let us know your top 5. Drop it in the comments. Yeah, 2Ks. That's a hell of a show. Mm-hmm. I mean, we covered a lot of baseball in an hour. Mm-hmm. A lot of baseball, and we were actually. I'm actually very surprised. I'm gonna give us a lot of credit. We didn't mention football hardly at all.
No.
We did. We stuck to our guns.
I watched football the whole time.
Well, yeah. Well, we have money on it, so of course.
And I wish I wasn't watching this fucking game because Dallas is just getting it taken to them.
I did start Brock Purdy today.
Well, he's got 2 touchdown passes, both to Kittle.
In your ass, Troy.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go into detail about what his bullshit, but.
We can't get out of here until we give the fantasy football update. That is the one thing we did forget. And nope, I'm trying to stick it to the Donette in your league. Trying to take down the last undefeated team in the Cedar Rama League. Let's get over to the Turbo and 2Ks standings. Let's see here. Now, I played you in your league last week, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, we haven't played against each other in the Turbo and 2Ks league yet.
Justin Kerr says broccoli and sports. Sounds good. But there's no undefeated teams in the Turbo and 2Ks. I'm at 3-1. Matt is at 3-1, and you are also at 3-1. However, I'm the lowest scoring 3-1 team, which doesn't shock me. I'm actually surprised that I'm 3-1 this so far. I mean, I'm pretty sure the time I lost was to Carl. And had Justin Fields been playing like Justin Fields now, I probably would be undefeated in this.
That matchup between me and Jack last week was something. I beat him by 1, and I was ahead of him by 1 for like the last drive, and he had Walker playing for his Seahawks. Walker gets a carry, which would have put him, tied him, but then but he lost 4 yards on the carry, so he went back a point. So I still ended up, and then they called like a timeout or something like that, and to stop the clock. And Carroll never put Walker back on the field the rest of the game, and I ended up beating him by 1 point. And I had Montgomery from the Lions with 60-some points on my bench, and DJ Moore with like 20-some points on my bench also. And I still ended up pulling off a W on him by 1.
And ironically enough, 2Ks, there's no unbeaten, and there's no everyone's won at least one week. Brett, Carl, Troy, and Jeremy are sitting at 2-2. Kayla, Emily, and Jack are at 1-3. Kind of shocked that Jack's at 1-3.
Yeah.
Kind of shocked at that, but he's one of those dudes that you never want to count out.
Yeah, and Kayla too. I mean, she's had good teams. It seems like every year since we've started doing this.
I think she was the one that I played last week. Hold on. Scoreboard. Week 4. Yeah, I played her last week, and man, I beat her 224 to 178. That was that was a beatdown.
Yeah, and I've only got 1 loss so far, and my 1 loss is to Emily, and she only has 1 win. So. Yeah. There's been a lot of parity in this league.
And it seemed to be that. I mean, this is one of the cooler things about this league, and one of the reasons why I still want to keep doing it, even though we've talked about it, kind of just me and you. It's like I've kind of lost the spark for it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we've said that on the show many times, and just if we would take that money and kind of put it, the other way, and just give it to FanDuel every week. I don't know. But that's that's one of the reasons why I like that league, and I will keep it going as long as everyone wants to do it. And there was probably 2 or 3 other folks that wanted to get in. So people that are riding with us, I love you to death, and I hope we and we have a good group of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no one which. Out of everyone, I think both of us would think Carl would be the one that would give up, but it seems like he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
No,
hell,
everybody plays it out.
he even drafted the day after his wedding, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I figured that would be on auto pick, and either that or leading to a very short marriage. So, which neither one was the case. Neither one was the case. All right, well 2K Crew, we'll keep you updated on the fantasy league as well. And for those of you that are still with us, thank you. We will see you next week, and we'll possibly have the eldest Caleb brother.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to be. I'm kind of on the ropes too. I don't know if I'll be back in time for it or not, because Chell will be running in her half marathon
right.
next Sunday in Grand Rapids. So we'll see what time I get back.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully I'll be back in time. We'll make it work. And I think Brandon, he wants to come in and talk college football. That's the plan. College
There we
football.
go.
So
There we go.
and there's a
Let's do it.
lot of really, really good games
Yes.
next Saturday, so it
Yes.
should be a pretty perfect timing to have a college football show.
Perfect. Let's book it and let's do it. And 2K Crew, we will see you next week. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.